New questions surround the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. Officials say Epstein associate and convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell was moved from a low-level security prison in Tennessee to a minimum security prison camp in Texas. That move, which typically requires a waiver, happened just days after Maxwell and her attorney met face-to-face with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche for 9 hours over 2 days. Meetings from which we still have no notes and a less than completely clear picture of who else was even in the room. The families of Epstein and Maxwell's victims slammed the decision, saying in a statement, quote, "President Trump has sent a clear message today. Pedophiles deserve preferential treatment and their victims do not matter." For more, I want to bring in Dave Weigel, political reporter for Semafor, and Carol Leonnig, Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative reporter with The Washington Post. Thank you both for being here tonight. Carol, I'll start with you and your reaction to this new chapter in the Epstein controversy. Our colleagues Lisa Rubin and Ken Dilanian reported earlier today that this was technically not allowed and it would have required a waiver to make this move happen. So how shocking to you is this move, and does it, for you as a reporter, does it make you question if a deal of some sort has been made here?
Well, I think the only conclusion we can come to is that Ghislaine Maxwell was moved to a less restrictive facility, obviously minimum security prison camp, basically a nicer kind of country club kind of location, because she agreed to sit for 2 days full of interviews. I don't think there's it looks causative. However, I will say the even stranger thing that's going on here is she's been convicted, tried, and sentenced to 20 years in prison. And the flummoxing event is, what exactly is the law enforcement purpose of re-interviewing her over certain facts about Jeffrey Epstein after those facts have been adjudicated, tried, established? What is the purpose of, for any law enforcement purpose, what is it other than trying to solve a presidential political crisis? Because that's what's really, I think, in the craw of so many prosecutors and FBI agents. What is really going on here?
I want to make one correction to what I said a moment ago. I think I said Tennessee. She is being transferred from Florida to Texas. David, I guess with all of this, is Trump betraying his own brand to a certain extent here? I guess trying to get into the minds of his base. For months, for years, a drumbeat asking for the uncovering of a deep state, accountability, names to be released, people to go down. And it seems like the only material development we've had over the last few weeks is a convicted sex offender moving to more plush digs. How is this going to go over with the people who wanted a reckoning?
Well, let's break down who that base is, because the Trump electorate changed in each of his three races, and he definitely, in 2024, added the most people who you could call anti-politics, anti-establishment, little trust in Washington, and believed that Trump was going to kick rocks over and find not just whatever information the government had, but that information was going to put some of the enemies of the anti-politics person in jail. It was going to find perfidy by all sorts of people. As soon as the administration started slow-walking the files that were not, as it turned out, on Pam Boendi's desk, those sorts of people, and you see this in the podcasters who jumped on the Trump bandwagon after not supporting him before. Those people have been off of it. The people who are staying in the coalition are satisfied with a lot of the dust being thrown up by the administration on other stories. And you saw that this week, the intensity with which the administration has been looking for any documents related to the 2016 Russia investigation, the intensity with the House Republicans who have not subpoenaed Maxwell, who are looking at Joe Biden's final months in office and whether an auto pen was used. That has, in the conservative media space, that has taken over the space of the Epstein story. The Epstein story was basically nowhere on Fox this week. The Sydney Sweeney ad story took all of the airtime that would be devoted to something like that. So for much of the base, there has been an effort that they've agreed with to move on to other topics. It's those people who, and every Democrat, but also those people who took a chance on Trump because they thought he was going to reveal everything. Those are the ones who are disappointed.
Well, Carol, one other thing that we're starting to see, and this has particularly come from some of the hosts at Newsmax, is it seems sort of this groundwork being laid that Ghislaine Maxwell may in fact be a victim of sorts. Is that what the reporting, what we know from the trial, is that what it tells us, that Ghislaine Maxwell may have been a victim in this story?
Overwhelming evidence, all sorted through by FBI agents, extensive 302s, the interviews with witnesses, the actual events that occurred in her prosecution. The overwhelming evidence is that Ghislaine Maxwell helped groom women and gather them and secure them for Epstein to have sex with or to get various sexual services from, that she was essentially a conduit through which women were acquired, young women, sometimes women that were underage, to come to his home, his island, his poolside, his mansion in New York, his mansion in Palm Beach. And so it's possible there is some element in which she has been victimized by someone, but the overwhelming evidence and the reason that she's in prison now has to do with her victimizing others.
David, it seems like with this story and so many others going on right now, Democrats have an opportunity to sort of seize the narrative, to paint a clearer picture than they've been able to paint over the last few years. Whether that's Epstein, or I know you've covered the Texas redistricting fight that's ongoing right now. How do you see the Democratic Party finding their footing and trying to figure out a fighting stance right now?
The Epstein story fell into their laps a little bit. I was talking to oversight Democrats as soon as Trump made those remarks at the cabinet meeting that he was annoyed the media kept asking, and they view this as a weakness for him, but not their main focus. Their main focus is what they see as, and they'll describe with these words, authoritarian moves by the president and by Republicans. So the Texas story is going to have repercussions for years in how Democrats campaign right now, but they're limited in what they can campaign on if maps around the country are, one, changed by redistricting, two, changed by a Supreme Court order. Democrats become much more worried about Trump's threats to democracy, as they've been saying all year. The Epstein thing is just a way into that got a lot of attention.